the only podcast that will buy a bunch of video games because it is okay to spend money while on vacation. This is Bombers.
Hi everybody, welcome to Bombers, where we spend money on video games and other things. I don't know. We'll find out later in the episode what Xiaber has done on his vacation. Hi, I'm Bomber number 5, Anthony, aka Dag, and as mentioned, joining me is Xiaber, aka Xiaber, Bomber number 3.
I am Xiaber.
Also known as...
Xiaber.
Yeah. We're gonna do you first here, because obviously I'm failing at brain thoughts. We're gonna do drinks and foods, where we take weird or different or recommended or good foods and drinks and taste/eat/drinks them.
Consume them.
We put them inside of our body in one manner or another. And this week I have here from C4 Energy Superhuman Performance Energy Drink. Skittles flavored, original Skittles TM, zero sugar, which worries me.
Zero sugar.
Zero sugar. Forgot where my camera is. Zero sugar, no artificial colors, naturally flavored, beta power, restricted term.
Beta oh my.
Yeah.
Okay. This is like a beta scum drink.
I'm a little concerned about that part, I'll be honest with you.
So,
yeah,
Anthony, I see that you posted in the Bombers Discord, link in the description below, that you have 4 drinks to try out and you wanted people to vote for it. But I see here that people actually voted for you to drink water instead.
Yeah, well, there's no write-in votes allowed, so all those people invalidated their own votes. Tap into the explosive energy of C4 to unleash superhuman performance and dominate life. Carnosine. This patented form of beta-alanine has been clinically shown to fight fatigue and improve muscular endurance within minutes of drinking C4. You may feel a tingling sensation from beta-alanine, signaling that your body is primed for superhuman performance. Beta power. This clinically studied, naturally derived form of betaine is sourced from beets and helps support hydration. 0 grams of sugar, 0 calories, and 200 milligrams of caffeine. I'm gonna die. It contains 0% juice.
So
I'm gonna get a tingling from this, apparently.
So the only thing I've heard that's in it so far are beets.
Beets and beta-alanine and betaine and caffeine. Yeah, but no sugar and no calories.
Like, for flavor, the only thing I've heard so far are beets.
Caution. Do not consume this product if you are pregnant or nursing. Not intended for children. Recommended for adults. Store in a cool, dry place. Do not freeze.
But if there's no juice, that means there's no beet juice. So then what are the beets that are in there?
Yeah, where did the beets come from? Ingredients: carbonated water, carnosine, beta-alanine, L-citrulline, malic acid, beta power, beta anhydrous.
Beta
citric
power?
Acid. But yeah, they put in this carnosine and the beta power, which are reserved terms. So it's not even real things, scientifically speaking. Potassium sorbate for preservative, caffeine anhydrous, natural flavors, sucralose.
There is sugar then.
Acesulfame, potassium, niacinamide, N-acetyl L-tyrosine, and cyanocobalamin, vitamin B12.
Alright, go ahead.
I'm reading because I'm terrified of this.
Crack that cold boy open.
All right.
Tentacles start coming out.
First impression of smell.
Does it smell like C4?
Have you ever left Skittles in the car on a hot summer day?
No, that is impossible for me. If I have Skittles, they're no longer there anymore.
They're gone. Kind of smells a little bit like what your car would smell like if you had left a package of Skittles in the car on a hot summer day. As for the taste, well. Oh, that's kind of foul, actually.
Is it beady? Beats by C4.
It'd be good if it was... Ugh. Oh, this is awful. If it was beady, I would like it.
So, what does it taste like?
It tastes like it tastes like a split between Skittles and Airheads. If you like blended them together in like what is that other flavor in this?
Beets?
I wish it was beets. I like beets. It's the sour aftertaste that I hate. You know, like Skittles have that little bit of that like citrusy aftertaste? It's like that, but bad.
Okay. So, it's like if we had this good thing, but it was actually bad.
But it was bad. My stomach kind of hurts now. I would say this is going to be hard to finish, honestly.
Nice. Just like most energy drinks.
Yeah. It's probably about a 2 out of 5. Like, I can drink it. I get that it tastes like Skittles. It just tastes like bad Skittles, like knockoff brand Skittles, which is a shame because this is original Skittles trademark, like branded on the bottle. Whatever.
You know, the worst part about that is that, like, all the Sour Patch Kids drinks I've had have been, like, superb.
Yeah.
And you'd think, like, Skittles would be pretty similar to that, except, I guess, less sour.
Well, and this is going to be a weird thing for me to admit, probably. One of the things I like about Skittles is when you chew them up and they get a little bit, like, grainy. They get a little, you know, granular, sugary, sandy even, one might say. You know? At the very end of just shoving a handful of Skittles and you chew on them and you get that nice, like, juiciness to them, but then eventually they get ground up into that sand type of thing. I like that. And this doesn't have.
I'm just seeing.
You're just staring at me silently, and I feel judged.
I'm just seeing how long you would keep talking.
I don't know if it's because I turned the fans off or if it's because of this stuff, but I am starting to sweat.
I mean, yeah,
it's probably this stuff. Definitely a solid 2 out of 5 because it has a little bit of that Skittles flavor, just bad. Makes me salivate a lot, which is gross.
I like you using the term solid because usually that's, you know, used for like a high rated item.
It's there. It's just not a good version of it. You know, I can taste it. I just don't like it. 2 out of 5.
Usually, I also can taste things I don't like.
Yeah. I think it is this stuff. I think this stuff is making me sweat.
Well, stop drinking it.
I opened it and I paid for it. I'm going to drink it and kill myself with it.
Okay, well, as you're doing that, let's move on to what is next. The bombastic news.
There's the tingling they were talking about.
No, that's just the bombastic news affecting you.
Ooh, I'm very excited for the bombastic news. Let's go.
Yeah. Well, as you heard, we do have a Discord where you can vote on what Dake should drink for the next week's podcast.
3 more of these. At least these other ones aren't this C4 stuff.
Yeah, they're not Skittles C4s. They're all Mountain Dews, which is a lot more exciting. I was actually at Casey's today and got their Overdrive Mountain Dew, which I think has raspberries in them, but it's not the raspberry lemonade Mountain Dew that you can get in stores. It was good.
These are the Mountain Dew Energy, like actual energy drink Mountain Dews, not just Mountain Dew has a lot of sugar and caffeine in Mountain Dews.
What's the difference? Less sugar?
Find out next week whenever I drink one of those, I guess.
Yes, and you can decide which one he'll do first, and second, and third.
Yep.
Oh, you can also check out our website, thisisbombers.com, where we have information about our Twitch, our YouTube, our Patreon, our Twitter, all that stuff, where you can see everything that we do for podcast and streaming related entertainment. If you do want to check out our Patreon, we will greatly reward you for giving us money. Shout outs
Yes,
to our current best friends of the show, Anne and Rob, our friends Haley, Aaron, and Reaper, and our acquaintances. We enjoy your support.
Thank you very much, everyone. You're great. The rest of you are slacking.
Slacking. Like the
Hey,
Pokemon.
Quick question. Are you being slower than normal, or is time dilating because of this energy drink?
You were just really focused on that bombastic news. You wanted to listen to every single drop of my beautiful voice. Well, next up is upcoming releases.
Oh yeah, that's me. Okay. Upcoming releases. Here comes the games what are releasing upcoming this week. First of all, we have on August 16th, Tuesday, so that's tomorrow, Roller Dome is coming to the computer, the PC, whatever you want to call it, and the PlayStation 4 and 5. Roller Dome looks kind of awesome, I'm not gonna lie here, Xiber. It's basically exactly what you expect from a title like that. It's roller derby.
But in video game fashion,
but
more violence.
A third-person action shooter like no other. Do you have what it takes to enter the Roller Drome? Oh, Roller Drome? I guess it's Roller Drome, not Roller Dome. I missed an R.
It depends on which YouTube video you're looking at.
Fair. It's got a cool cel-shaded stylistic presentation, very comic booky, like a Tank Girl almost, I would say. Looks pretty cool.
I don't know. I've been to an actual roller derby and such, and this disappoints me just because it doesn't have that atmosphere. I mean, in general, the atmosphere of this Roller Drome game is pretty boring looking. So, I don't know, maybe the gameplay makes up for it.
It is kind of cool that at least the main character is on actual roller skates and not on roller blades. So I do appreciate that little bit of I don't know, authenticity, I guess.
I can never remember which one is which.
Rollerblades, which is technically actually the trademark term for it, they are called inline skates, are the single row of four wheels, as opposed to roller skates, which are four wheels, two in the front, two in the back, like a car.
That's right, that's how I try to remember it. A blade is a single thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
A rollerblade is like an ice skate, in that it is a blade.
Ice skating is so fun. I need to do that again.
Yeah, I haven't gone ice skating in a very... Wow, I am definitely feeling that tingle. That is uncomfortable.
That is the ice skating tingle. We have to ice skate now, otherwise it'll get worse.
Oh no, I've got the ice skate itch. They told me it would come back, and here it is.
There's only one way to scratch it.
With the blade of an ice skate?
No, with roller skates.
Oh, with... What? So there's that game. Also, this one I'm very excited about because it looks great. Coming out the next day, Wednesday, the 17th, Kirby's Dream Buffet, Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
You planning on picking this up like day one?
I mean, is it free to play or?
I thought it was supposed to be.
I mean, in that case, yes, I'll probably download it as soon as I remember to pick up my Switch and do that.
Kirby Dream Buffet.
Let's see here. No, it's $15.
Oh, is it? I'll pay $15 for this game.
Yeah, I mean, it's,
Although, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm gonna have to get Nintendo Online to actually play with people, huh?
Man, if only you could just join a family.
Yeah, if only I knew someone that had a family.
Yeah, I can't invite you to mine since I'm not the one paying for it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we should, well, that's a discussion for off-air. We'll figure that out. Like, Kirby's Dream Buffet, coming out on Wednesday, the 17th. It looks really cute and very fun. And, you know, it's Kirby.
Yeah.
Cute and fun is sort of in the cards.
And people are comparing it to Fall Guys, is that right?
It has a similar vibe, except I think it's only 1 to 4 player, as opposed to Fall Guys is like 60 or whatever they have. But it's that similar sort of just like goofy, single level, competitive kind of stuff going on to it.
Yeah, it's like what's it called? The eating race.
What?
That Kirby and DDD do. Where they race while eating food. I can't remember the name of it.
I don't know the name of it, but yeah, it's like that, but different.
But
it also looks kind of like pinball-y with them rolling around and bouncing off each other and stuff. Competitive pinball.
Like Canvas Curse.
Competitive pinball eating. All right.
Competitive eating pinball.
Yeah, that. Are you eating the pinballs?
Eating pinball competitively.
Then on Thursday, the 18th, coming to computer, PC, Xbox, Xbox One, PlayStation 4 and 5, and Switch, is Cursed to Golf, which looks pretty hilarious, I'm not gonna lie. I pulled this up originally because I was like, oh, is this good, like Golf Story or something? No, it's not quite like that.
Welcome to Golf Purgatory.
Yes, a golf-like adventure where every shot counts. Players are tasked with making it out of Golf Purgatory to become a golfing legend. With insane hazards, otherworldly power-ups, and tons of replayability, will you make it back alive? Or will you forever be cursed to golf?
It has a really cute and amazing pixel art.
The pixel art is spectacular, which...
I do love when games have this kind of pixel art. It's like the best.
Yeah, that like 16-bit era, like high-res pixel art callback stuff.
Is this even 16? I feel like it's more than that.
It's way past that, but it has that similar vibe to it. You know, those really nice, detailed, high-res. Obviously, you know, nowadays we've got more than 16 bits to work with. But it is very reminiscent of that sort of retro look, but not too retro.
Like, yeah.
It's almost, a lot of the way it looks, weirdly enough, it kind of looks like if you took a golf game and a platformer game and smashed them up against each other.
Yeah, it's like those puzzle platforming games that you would see, like, you know, on random websites. Except that you're golfing them.
Yeah.
So I'm seeing, like, there's times where you can, like, make it just drop where it currently is, or you get a random second shot while it's still in the air.
Yeah, cool different power-ups. Some of the levels are, like, upside down, so you have to sort of, like, flip your head and figure out the physics of that. Looks neat.
Yep, unfortunately I don't see the price, but there is a demo you can try.
Yeah, it's not up for pre-order, so there is no actual price here. So I find out when it comes out on the 18th.
18th.
And then on August 18th. And then on Friday, August 19th, Madden NFL 23. So for the weekly bomb, there was an interesting bit of news that came out this past week, Xiaber, from the investigations, as it were, into Microsoft's bid to purchase Activision Blizzard, which is being investigated by the different regulatory committees in multiple countries, because that's obviously a world-spanning type of endeavor there.
Yeah, it shouldn't just be one country to decide if that's going to be like a monopoly or not.
The cool news that we've been getting out of this is coming from the Administrative Council for Economic Defense, which is the CADE, which is basically like the FTC of Brazil. A lot of documents have been translated from the original Portuguese, the official language of Brazil. Among others, one of the cool, it's not the word, one of the interesting, I'm going to say that word again, I guess. Man, this stuff is messing with my brain, Xiaber. I don't drink C4 energy.
It will just blow your mind.
It will blow your mind, and not in the good way.
Ooh.
One of the things that came out in the things, because the Brazil government does not have these as like closed door investigations. Everything that they're doing is open to the public, as opposed to the FTC's investigations in America here. That's all closed door stuff. So it's interesting that it's the multi-country is allowing some of this to come to light, just based off of what is and is not released where in different countries. And the thing that came out here is that Microsoft has claimed Microsoft claimed, we don't have, any confirmation one way or the other, they've claimed that Sony will pay for quote-unquote blocking rights to basically stop different game developers from adding their content to Xbox Game Pass specifically is the allegation that Microsoft brought forward, but adding that content to other subscription streaming services like Game Pass or I think Epic Game Store or Origin or something like that also has a similar style streaming subscription game playing thing, all those different things. Sony will pay money to the developers for those developers to not agree to offer their games on these other subscription services. It's a very kind of interesting tack from Sony here. Instead of if these allegations are true, if what Microsoft is claiming is true, Sony is willing to pay money in order to make money from the sales of these particular different games on their system.
Yeah, that's kind of the big thing is that we're seeing Microsoft accuse this, but we don't quite yet have any evidence of Sony specifically paying people to not have their games on Game Pass. What we have seen so far is that both Xbox or Sony and Microsoft have paid for games to be specifically on their console/streaming device first.
The exclusivity or timed exclusivity anymore these days, yeah.
Yeah. And so to see that now Microsoft's saying, well, Sony is specifically paying for it to just not be on our thing, that's a bit different. Or maybe they're just saying that Sony is doing too much of paying for things to be only on PlayStation for a certain amount of time. Who knows?
Well, there's certainly a difference between gaining an exclusivity on your service versus the reverse of that, which is not necessarily gaining an exclusivity on your service, but gaining and not having it on other people's. There's some nuance there that's kind of skeezy. You know what I mean?
Well, that's what Epic does, though. They're all like, "Hey,
yeah,
only have it on our store." I don't know,
which is,
but
that's yeah.
It's still a thing of, at least after a year or so, usually they can be on other stuff. I don't know specifically what it is for Epic Games, but at least on the consoles, that's usually what we have to wait. Assuming the developers actually want it to be on other consoles.
And that's all part of the different negotiations that they have to go through in the contracts for that publishing rights and whatnot.
I guess it's interesting that it's going to this, though, just because, exclusivity has always been a thing.
Exclusivity has always, well, I wouldn't say it's an issue, but it's always been an aspect of the industry. It's gotten more interesting recently just because of the way that these subscription services are kind of changing how games are purchased, consumed, sold, etc. The environment around it is completely different. Back in the day, exclusivity was, hey, if you only release this on PlayStation, we will fund development for a certain agreed upon amount. As opposed to nowadays with subscriptions.
Well, so you look at streaming services for TVs and movie shows and such. It's just all like, oh, we lost our contract, so now it's going to be taken off of this streaming site. Oh, but it's going to show up on that streaming site. And so,
if it shows up on any streaming site, the licensing, is...
Yes, well, if it's a popular thingamafigure, then usually the streaming sites are fighting over, just like, hey, I want it now that this contract is up and such. But, it's still a contract, though. It's still for a certain amount of time, and, I'm pretty sure that's...
a license,
for
sure.
That's still what it is, to my knowledge, for the gaming, too. If any kind of... besides just straight up, yes, I only want this game on my console, don't put it anywhere else, which is less happening. It's not as happening as much anymore.
It tends to only be first-party things, specifically things put out by Nintendo, Microsoft Game Studio, or Sony, that are now any more exclusive. And even that's becoming less of a thing. We've seen a lot of those releases obviously Microsoft, it makes sense for things to come out on PC because they've got PC Game Pass. Microsoft is Windows,
yeah,
which basically is PC. But Sony recently has been putting out a lot of games on PC.
Yep, God of War, Spider-Man, the one game you like.
Horizon.
Yes.
I like that game. I like that game a lot. Those have been getting PC releases, which is interesting because, in a way, if you think about it, kind of releasing those games on PC is analogous to releasing those games on Xbox because it is essentially a Microsoft-run environment at that point.
Yes and no. There's still plenty of people that get an Xbox because they're just not a PC gamer.
Yeah.
So they still.
I
pity those people. It's like Xbox is actually becoming like one of the more harder to get games consoles. Besides Nintendo for consoles. But at least they get all those Nintendo games.
And there's the Steam Deck, and that brings up the point of not all gaming PCs run Windows. Not all of that environment is in fact dominated and controlled purely by Microsoft because Linux and the Apple stuff. But
I feel really sorry for Apple gamers.
You shouldn't have an Apple if you want to be a gamer. That's just not what the focus is with the different environments that they put together.
But yeah, it is interesting though. We're seeing Sony actually open up and such with their games, and it's at this point now that Microsoft's all like, yeah, but you're doing this stuff we don't like, and I'm interested to see the evidence shown for that and what people actually think is going on there.
Or what evidence can come out, because a lot of that is probably proprietary contracts between Sony and the different developers. Microsoft brings these applications forward. Cool, now what? Does Sony have to bring the paperwork to say, nuh-uh, because these things, and now all of that stuff that was, private contract negotiations is now public information? It seems a little skeezy, all because Microsoft was being, essentially sore about it.
Because, there's a few things that could be happening that Microsoft has decided to accuse Sony of this. Either they are, asking companies to, allow their games to be on Game Pass, and the companies are saying no, and they're either saying, because if they're able to, they could be saying that they have a contract that they can't, or if they're not able to say it, which makes much more sense, then it's just Microsoft being all like, but why? Why wouldn't you want it on this thing that I still don't know how makes money?
Yeah.
Microsoft must. They give the developers
they have to
money.
Be making some, and it's interesting to look at how long it took Sony to even acquiesce to crossplay and cross save and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Which was another interesting thing that came out in a lot of this news was Sony basically, when it enabled cross-platform and whatnot, they forced a royalty payment on these publishers that they have to pay to Sony a certain percentage of the bottom line of a cross-platform game to quote-unquote offset the reduction in revenue that Sony would get, because now those players don't have to purchase Destiny 2 on all systems. You can play with someone who has Destiny 2 on an Xbox or a PC. Random example that I'm pulling out. But it's instead of forcing someone to have to buy on a PlayStation to play with their PlayStation friends, they already have it on Xbox and they can play through there. So that we're losing money on that. So we want you to pay us to enable crossplay. So that's, again, kind of gross.
Yeah, I can see the pros and cons of Sony not liking crossplay, but with what they've said as why they don't like it, I'm just like, no, you're just definitely wrong. You're not going to get people to buy a PlayStation just to play a game with their friends. In fact, they might do the opposite, because the other console is cheaper.
You're just as likely to get someone to abandon your console. Well, I could buy a PlayStation, but then I'm stuck in that walled garden environment. Or I could buy an Xbox and play with my friends who are on Switch or on PC or etc.
Yeah.
Why would you buy into the PlayStation at that point? And those were some of the arguments that people were having back in the PlayStation 4 era.
But on the other hand, like, Sony was the one...
And always...
No, Sony was the one that would be negatively targeted the most for allowing crossplay. Because, Nintendo's Nintendo. Like, if anyone's gonna get a Nintendo thing, it's not for playing third-party games with friends.
It's for playing first-party games.
Yeah.
And also the fact that Nintendo has sort of, ever since the Wii, or even the GameCube, practically, has kind of carved out that niche of being the and console. Oh, I have a PlayStation and a...
Yeah.
Whatever the current Nintendo console is. Oh, I have an Xbox and a whatever the current Nintendo console was at the time. That.
And then there's Microsoft, where, like, they're already trying to put a hold onto the PC, so it made sense that they would at least allow
PC to Xbox, yeah.
Like, even if it was initially through the Microsoft Store, which there are actually still some games coming out where it's like that, although that's more because the developers don't feel like, having their own account system.
Yeah.
But still, it's just like, well, of course Microsoft would want to be able to have crossplay with PC. So then that just leaves PlayStation, where it's all like, well, we don't want to crossplay with our rivals, and if we crossplay with other devices, it would look weird if we specifically didn't crossplay with our rivals. And so that's where I'm just like, that's where I get the thing of Sony is hit the most negatively with crossplay existing. But
they also got hit negatively in the PR field because they were the ones that were really resisting it.
Yeah.
And everyone else was like, hey, let's just do it.
That's the thing. I'm just all like, yes, it made sense for them to resist it, but they resisted it for just way too long.
Yeah.
It
became a little ridiculous at that point.
And for reasons that didn't actually make sense.
Yeah.
So,
and
but yeah, they're switching out. Now we just have to, rely on developers to make their own accounts, which actually is how it works anyway. It's always weird when people complain about certain games not having crossplay, and it's just like, that's not Sony's fault. They're allowing it now.
Now they finally have, well, to a degree, because again, this whole thing about Sony charging royalty for bottom line,
true.
Blah, 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 just came out recently in the big Epic Games versus Apple case from last year. That was testified by the Epic Games CEO Tim Sweeney about how Sony runs their crossplay stuff.
It's amazing how much stuff is being released by completely unrelated trials and junk.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
It's like, by the way, since I'm on whatever file here, I'm just going to say this stuff.
Yeah. Another interesting thing that has come out with a lot of this FTC/CADE investigation into the Microsoft purchase or pending purchase of Activision Blizzard is the weird accusation that somehow Call of Duty is its own genre of game. Which is super silly.
So, I agree, it's definitely not its own genre, but then when, other companies were all like, oh, but Apex and, Battlefield, yes, Battlefield and Call of Duty, they're very similar. But then, people were bringing up Apex and that other game, I forgot what it was. PUBG.
Pubga?
Yeah, PUBG.
Pubga.
And I'm just all like, okay, those two are absolutely nothing like Call of Duty and Battlefield. I mean, yes, Call of Duty and Battlefield have been trying to make modes similar to those games because they came and become popular, but that's not what Call of Duty and Battlefield are. They're nothing like that. That'd be like comparing it to Unreal or something.
Yeah, they're all different kinds of they're all first-person shooters. Yeah, certainly. And that's the genre, is first-person shooter. But then you start getting into your subcategories, because Call of Duty is more of a 16-person arena shooter almost. Not really an arena shooter, but you get the feel that I'm going for.
Yeah.
It's that smaller combat style idea. Whereas PUBG and Apex are
massive online battle arenas, practically.
And by side note, we've been skirting around the big one, which of course is Fortnite, which is what caused the Epic Games versus Apple case to happen in the first place.
Yes. Well, that wasn't included in the list that I saw. So
no, but it is its own titan, its own quote unquote gaming category of its own.
But like, I can also compare Halo to Call of Duty and Battlefield, but the issue is that Sony doesn't get Halo games, so that I guess that could actually go along with their argument.
Yeah, but you know, they're trying to claim Call of Duty as its own gaming category, and it kind of is, but it also kind of just isn't. And it's not going to be a thing that you can stand on 2 feet for in trying to claim any form of monopoly problem.
I mean, if you looked like 2 generations ago, I feel like they totally could have.
Maybe. But even 2 generations ago, there was... Well, I guess you're correct, because
that was it. It was Call
Halo.
of Duty and Battlefield and Halo. So if they had Call of Duty and Halo, and then there was... Or wait, who made Battlefield again?
EA.
Oh, okay. Yeah, screw EA.
Yeah, exactly. Screw them. But I like this quote from Microsoft in one of the documents they had. The inclusion of Activision Blizzard content in Game Pass does not impair the ability of other players to compete in a digital game distribution market. Argues it increases the competition thanks to high quality content at lower immediate costs.
What does that even mean?
Yeah, I don't. That's the weird... They're saying that, if we buy Activision Blizzard and have basically all of the big shooter games, and by all I mean Call of Duty and Halo, completely ignoring the fact that Fortnite is its own thing that is, again, as we said, a titan, Apex, which has been going pretty strong.
I know, I heard that Fortnite is now cringe.
Everything's cringe, Xiber. We're cringe.
You're cringe.
You're cringe.
Your face is cringe.
Yeah, that's because of the C4 energy drink.
Well,
muscles to contract.
I also like the article's sentence right before that, though, where it says that Microsoft also claims, will actually increase competition somehow. Like, I love that. Because even the article is all true. Like, I don't know what they're talking about.
How. Because how is them owning Halo and Call of Duty supposed to increase competition? Other than, now you have to try even harder to beat us.
It does
somehow,
not,
I guess, is their argument for increasing competition.
It does not impair the ability of other players to compete in the digital game. So, like, is it saying that they can still...
Players, when it says players, it's not talking about video game players, it's talking about players in the market.
Yeah, so, like, it's saying that just because people can get this game, quote-unquote, for free through our systems doesn't mean that's going to stop people from buying it on your systems, I guess.
Yes, it's a weird defense that Microsoft has come up with.
It's basically just saying, nuh-uh. That's it.
Yeah, basically. That's what it is. But overall, all this stuff coming out has been very interesting, and even with all of these things, I still don't see that there's any way that any regulatory body is going to prevent the purchase of Activision Blizzard by Microsoft. At the end of it, I think we're going to see that happen. That's my final takeaway from this entire conversation.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the biggest takeaway also is just that Microsoft also argues that not distributing games like Call of Duty at rival console stores would simply not be profitable for the company, i.e., Microsoft is going to cross-platform release games, like,
yep,
because it makes sense. And we're not going to stop selling these games that have already been on other consoles, because we'd be losing money that we could be having.
Yep. Even if Sony is still getting a cut for the, platform licensing, Microsoft would still be making money from the overall software sales. Why wouldn't they?
They'd be making way more money than, the Sony.
Way more.
So.
Yeah. And it's not like that's money that Sony was seeing anyway. And if Sony is, in fact, charging these royalty cuts for the cross-platform enablement, they'd be getting royalty cuts from Microsoft. It seems like a weird win-win / lose-lose. I don't know. It's an interesting situation. Let's move on. I think we've beaten this as much as we can here.
Yeah, but so far there's been basically nothing from Sony yet to defend themselves or anything like that. So
well, and that's the thing is, why would they defend themselves? Because this investigation
has nothing to
ostensibly
do with it.
is all about Microsoft's purchase of Activision Blizzard. Where did Sony get involved into that? Other than them trying to say that Microsoft shouldn't do this purchase, but now Microsoft has turned around and started accusing Sony of things.
That's it.
It's crazy.
It's like
it's wild.
You may think this is bad, but what about Sony?
What about this thing
what
you're
about
doing?
this party? They're doing bad stuff. Go sick 'em.
Go over there. Yeah. What crazy.
So that's why I'm just all like, this article is interesting and crazy, but it could be completely meaningless because we may never find anything else afterwards related to this. So let's move on.
Yeah. Oh boy. Fun conversation. I'm done with it.
Alright, so I don't even know if to say a bomb or the bomb.
I'm not even. It was definitely some sort of bomb. Carrying on.
That conversation was the bomb.
Conversation was the bomb.
So,
let us know, audience, what you think about the entire conversation that we just had over the past, I don't know, half hour.
Oh, it is so fun. So, let's move on to Xiaber's treasures. Totally not stolen from anyone, that phrase.
We haven't seen a treasures game in a while.
Like 2 seasons or something, I don't know.
Yeah, basically.
So anyway, Haley, my wife, and I dog sat at her sister's place, which is like in a different state. And they have a bunch of, like video game stores and all that kind of stuff. And we bought a bunch of stuff. So
nice.
I figured I will ask Anthony to guess how much money it cost for certain items that we bought.
$9.99 per month.
No. So let's start off with the first one. This is interesting. It's a Puyo Puyo Tetris 2 for the PS4.
For the PS4. $15.
It was 2, which came out like a year ago, I think.
$20.
We got
should have gone down instead of up.
We got it for $8.99.
Nice.
Yeah, because like Haley was just like, I should probably get the first one before getting the second one whenever we'd see it in stores. But then we saw this, she's all like, no, I'm getting this.
No, okay. Also, it's Puyo Puyo Tetris. There's no story. You don't need to get the first one first.
That's what you think.
Maybe the gaming mechanics have improved and it would be hard to go back, a la like Mass Effect 2 versus Mass Effect 1. $8.99. Well done.
Let's see another interesting one. Oh, here we go. Sonic Riders for the GameCube. The first Sonic Riders.
$8.99.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
It was $30.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess we are right in the middle of the big nostalgia drive on GameCube titles. Well, not really in the middle.
This is actually pretty low for a not common GameCube game.
Yeah.
We actually got this on the PS2 when we were up in Wisconsin because we saw that and we're just like, well, we don't have Sonic Riders, so we might as well get this in case we never see the GameCube game. And then, less than a month later...
Yeah, exactly. That's how it works.
Haley's all like, we could play at the same time now.
You could. Pretty sure it's a multiplayer game and you could have done that anyway, but...
Is it?
Isn't it?
I don't know. I mean, the only experience I have with Sonic Riders is watching the real-time fan dub of it, which is really confusing, and even the people fan dubbing it were really confused.
Yeah, I think it has multiplayer portions of it, but the actual game itself is like any.
I can see that
racing style game. Yeah.
All right.
So $30 is not bad for a GameCube or for a rarer GameCube game. You're right.
All right. Next up is The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening for the Switch.
The Switch.
A game that I wasn't getting, but
then you saw
it for a price.
You couldn't pass up.
What was that price?
Wait. Ooh, tough call. $15.
Dang, I would totally get it for $15. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I'm like.
Nope. Sadly,
At what price would Xiber be willing to purchase this game that is basically just the Game Boy game again?
$35.
Wow, that's much higher than I thought you were willing to pay for that game.
Yeah, but I normally see this still going for like $55+.
Yeah, 60, 55. Yeah,
It's the kind of situation where I'm just all like, I mean, I could keep waiting to see if it ever gets lower, but it's also a Nintendo game.
Will it? Yeah, exactly.
I mean, we're still seeing like Pokemon games still are skyrocketing up. It's ridiculous.
But those are Pokemon games. I need to go back and look, like, in general, what the actual to-buy costs are for Legend of Zelda games, because that's another pretty well-known and popular franchise. However, this is one of the not as well-regarded Legend of Zelda games, specifically because it's basically it's the Game Boy games over again.
I mean, I still would totally pay $60 for the Oracle games. Hopefully, both of them combined.
I would absolutely pay $60 for both Oracle games together.
I absolutely love the Oracle games. I'm really disappointed when people say like they would prefer Link's Awakening. I'm just like, but they're so much better.
I want the both Oracle games together in a combo pack as a remake, and I don't even know if I want a remake, but some sort of re-release of the Minish Cap, please.
That would also be nice. I think I ended up getting the Wii U digital version, but
I did as well.
Yeah. It's on the Wii U.
But that's the problem. It's on the Wii U.
Yeah,
that means there are, I think, 2, maybe 3 ways to play Minish Cap.
I think
one of them is the original Game Boy Advance. There's the Wii U re-release. And then I think
that's
it might have gotten. I think it was part of the Ambassador Club for the 3DS.
I can't remember. You know what?
But
yes, it was
because the Ambassador Club was such a short period of time.
My friend,
and then they never released it.
Yeah, my friend had it, and I remember now because back when we dumpster dived at GameStop, we actually found Link's Awakening Game Boy Advance cartridge, and he wouldn't let me have it, even though he had the Ambassador Program version, and I was really salty.
Rude. Was that Link's Awakening or was that Minish Cap?
Minish Cap. Did I say Link's Awakening?
You did, and you confused me.
Link's Awakening Game Boy Advance.
I was like, I don't remember that happening.
But I did borrow it at least and played it.
Nice.
So,
yeah, great games. Would love to see the ability for more people to play it more readily than having a Wii U or a Game Boy Advance, or having gotten lucky and being part of the Ambassador Club for the 3DS.
Yeah. Give us legal ways to play your games currently, Nintendo.
Yeah.
Give us back the Virtual Console.
Yeah, it's kind of a real tragedy with them giving us too many games on the Virtual Console and now giving us not enough games on the Switch Online service.
It was so weird because I didn't realize I had all those games on the Wii U Virtual Console because they added the DS and Wii games right at the end, and then they moved on to the Switch, and now we can't play them.
And then they shut down the store. Yep.
Oh well.
Oh well. What else you got for me for Xiber's Treasures?
I'm seeing.
Oh boy.
No, I'm seeing on here that they have a Hello Kitty plush, but that's because there wasn't a tag on the actual plush we got, so they just scanned.
Picked a random plush. So what plush did you actually get?
It was
Don't even remember.
Man, I didn't think it was gonna be that expensive. It was Rayman from Animal Crossing.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Rayman from Rayman, the Ubisoft game.
That'd be fun to see a plush.
How did they get the legs and feet attached?
They just have strings.
The feet and hands. Legs and feet. There are no legs.
The legs and feet. Yeah, they're actually see-through fabric. That's why it costs so much.
It's magnets. We don't even know how they work. You got anything else for the actual Xiber's Treasure?
Well, I did get another Modest Mouse album on vinyl. I forget the name of the album.
Oh boy, that's embarrassing.
But, I mean, that's not very exciting to try to guess because vinyl is typically around the same price.
Yeah, generally right around like $30-ish.
$27.99. Yep, that's the closest you got.
Yeah, vinyl. Thank you for staying at a standardized price most of the time.
Yep, it is sad because we also bought a few games elsewhere, but we don't have the receipts for those, so we can't.
Don't remember what you spent on them.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we got some cool stuff that we didn't have. I will play Link's Awakening at some point just to do it.
Yeah, and it's Link's Awakening. It's not like it's hard or long.
That's what he said. My friend is actually replaying the Oracle games right now, and this is the first time, for some reason, this is the first time that he's ever done a linked game between the two. And I'm just,
really?
Yeah, I'm just like, what the crap? That's like one of the best parts.
Your friend had both of them, but had never linked them before. That's silly. That's silly.
Yeah.
To be fair, I never actually 100% finished it because that fight against the dragon form of Onyx is just kind of dumb. I don't like it.
You just put the cape on, you charge your sword, and then you fly and, do the sword swing circle.
Yeah, but I'm not good at it.
Oh man,
it's me, not the game.
Surprisingly, Oracle Seasons actually stumped me more than Ages, even though Ages had all those puzzles, because
I liked Ages more because it had all the puzzles.
Yeah, like Ages had puzzles that like made sense to solve, but Seasons, it's all like go find the thing in the desert, and it's just randomized which hole you're supposed to fall in, and sometimes it doesn't even like initially appear there. And then I also didn't know how to even fight Onyx, like the regular form.
The actual general form.
And that was back when you couldn't just Google these things. I would just that's how I found out Ask Jeeves exists, and I'm just like, Jeeves, where's the bell in the desert? And Jeeves is all like, what the crap are you talking about?
Do I have? I'm gonna have to go take a peek. Keep talking.
Okay. That he still has the C4 in his hand. This is why he's going to explode. He keeps drinking it.
Yeah, I do have the. I've just looked and I've already
strategy guides.
This scrambled my brain. Yeah.
Yeah, he has the strategy guides.
The Nintendo official player's guide version of the Oracle of Ages, Oracle of Seasons guide. So I did know how to do the things in the game.
Oh, also I found out something that I didn't know about. So he was playing Ages, and I came over, and he's just all like, Xiber, do this Goron dance for me, because I'm stuck. And I'm just like, do you need to do it? He goes, well, I have both of the, the old and new dungeon keys. And I'm just like, well, then you don't have to do it. And he goes, but, like, I'm on the hard mode now, and I want to see what it gives me. And I'm just like, what difficulty modes? What are you talking about? It turns I didn't know that you could keep doing the dances and get into higher difficulties. And
I also did not know that.
Yeah, so like I'm just like, well, I can probably do this. I'm usually good at this thing. And my god.
Xiber and rhythm games? Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's technically a rhythm game, but like there's no beat to it.
Yeah, it's more of a I don't know, Simon Says, I guess.
Yeah, and then, so, like, it was, like, a super extreme Simon Says going on for long periods of time for each dance, and, like, I just failed the first 3, and then I lose and such. I'm just like, how many do I need to win? And he goes, I think there's, like, 10 rounds. I go, 10?
10?
But eventually,
no thank you.
On my 4th or 5th try, I actually did it. I only missed 2 of the 8 times. And he gave me a gacha seed.
That's all?
Yeah, I just gave it back to him, just like, hope you're happy.
Jeez. That's a real disappointment.
Because, like, I know the rarity of what you get from a tree is based on the soil you use, and never how you get the seed, so it's completely pointless. Like, I mean, I guess it's a way to quickly get a bunch of seeds if you're good enough. But yeah.
Or you could do anything else.
Yeah.
Because that sounds miserable.
And then he was like, oh, I was thinking maybe it's a heart piece. I go, you never get a heart piece from minigames. None of the minigames give you heart pieces. They're all from locations or buying them from stores.
Yep.
Oh,
jeez. What were we talking about that we got?
the
Cyber
yes. So that's my treasures. Hopefully, I won't be buying any old games anytime soon because there's gonna be new games coming up I need to buy.
Well, plus you can only spend money on video games while you're on vacation, so you gotta wait till your next vacation.
Right. Yeah, I need to go buy 14 anyway. Final Fantasy 14.
I guess you technically didn't purchase it. Yeah, you do need to actually buy in and get a subscription to that.
Yep, I'm finally at Stormblood. Yes, Stormblood? Yes.
That's the second to last one, because the current one is Endwalker, right?
No, Dark...
What?
I don't know. I thought Stormblood was the next one after Heavensward.
Yes? I don't know, nor do I care any longer.
No, there's another one before
Speaking
Endwalker.
Speaking of things that you've been playing, let's do Minish Recap. A recap minishly of the things that we've been playing.
Alright, I've played nothing.
Oh.
I have been too busy.
Good.
Well,
good talk.
No, I mean, so on Wednesdays now, my friend and I have been playing Halo 3 Legendary Mode, and...
Nice. Did you see that the Halo 2 Lasso challenge, the bounty on that got claimed?
Yep, I did.
Crazy.
I feel like I've been asked that so many times from the same people.
Did you see, by the way, that the Halo 2 Lasso bounty has been claimed?
I did not.
Yeah.
Cool.
Couldn't tell you any details, but I saw that it happened.
Yeah. So, surprisingly, it's actually been easier in the sections that we're playing compared to the first sections we played, because there's not just a bunch of snipers that kill us as soon as we turn a corner.
Yeah, and at least you're playing standard legendary and not freaking Lasso.
Yeah. And also there's two of us, so there have been times where we just have one person stay back, or...
You gotta do the bum rush strategy.
Yeah, eventually I'm just all like, wait, if we know we're about to die, why aren't we throwing grenades? And we're just like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah, you can infinite spawn grenades by just punching your friend in the back of the head.
Yeah, it wasn't this past week, but the week before that, we actually got stuck at this place where, like, we're ambushed by a bunch of enemies, and there's like 3... stages of enemies appearing, and we just kept dying, and it was horrible. And then my friend's kid started acting up, and so he's just all like, all right, I'm just gonna find a position where I won't die, and then he started taking care of the kid, and then I just...
So you just kept spawning and bum rushing?
There was a point where people started shooting him. I'm just like, no!
No!
I did. And also I found a sniper rifle. I was just like, why didn't you tell me there was a sniper rifle here?
Yeah, that's helpful.
In general, I'm playing as the Arbiter, and so I always get the plasma guns, and there's so many times where the plasma is not actually useful. Like, we were fighting the Flood this past week, and I'm just all like, these guns suck. And then I die, and then I gotta go find regular guns again.
Mm-hmm. We recently switched over. We saved the old Minecraft realm for the Bombcraft. But we switched over to a new one to one, bring in new people that won't be intimidated by all the stuff that already exists, and 2, to actually get up to the most recent update of the game, instead of the old server that was still working off of the version of the game from, I don't know, 12 years ago, 10 years ago, something like that.
Maybe.
Not quite that long, but you get the idea.
Like 6 years ago.
So we've been playing, it was a while ago. We've been playing that with the new update and bringing in new people. So if anybody out there wants to play some Minecraft, we have a 24/7 realm open and available. Pop onto the Bombers Discord and hit me up with your Minecraft username, and I'll add you to the whitelist so you can play with us. And Xiber, I have a confession to make to you.
Uh-huh.
I purchased and have been playing the Sega Picross.
It's good.
It's good, but I'm back into Picross again. It's a problem. I can't get away from the Picross games. There's just something comforting about those puzzles to me. It's very relaxing.
It is, yeah.
As much as they're puzzle games and you kind of have to think about them, when I'm playing them, I can just turn my brain off.
That's how I got through college. I would just open up Solitaire. It's great.
Just start playing Picross.
Yeah, that'd be a bit harder to conceal, as if the teachers didn't know I was playing solitaire.
Yeah, for real. But yeah, I know previously I had complained about being problematically addicted to Picross, and then I stopped playing for a while. I'm back on the wagon, or whatever the phrase is.
I'm pretty good, actually. I only have the first Picross game, S1 or whatever, and Sega Picross. Those are the only two I have on the Switch.
I think I've done Picross S1 through 5, maybe 6. And I think they're up to 8 now, maybe?
Yeah.
And then the Sega one. And then I got Picross DS that I played through. And there was the Twilight Princess Picross that came with the Nintendo Club back in the day.
That was my first Picross experience. It was great.
Side note, I can't remember if I've ever mentioned it on the show, but I did, in fact, 100% completely get all of the achievements and everything, Pokemon Picross.
I know you told me at least. But, like, a bunch of those achievements were just doing a game with specific Pokemon. That sounds so terrible.
Well, not that bad. If you just do one of the very simple 10x10 puzzles and just have those Pokemon, you can just burn through it. So I just went through and was like, I'm gonna 100% it.
Yeah, I went back to see how far I had left to go, and I realized I wasn't even halfway through Mega Picross, and I'm just like, I don't want to do Mega Picross without the info, you know, like the blue whatever things.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I'm so badly addicted to Picross. I always play no assist.
I like assist, especially on Mega Picross, because there's so many times where I don't know. I mean, there's even with it telling me that I can do something with a Mega Picross line, and I'm just like, but what?
Can I? No, I play 100%. Always play with no assist.
It is fun not having it tell you if you're wrong, because I mean sometimes I just accidentally put a block on the wrong place.
And then you realize it later. Oh, I gotta fix that.
No, just instantly. No. I just accidentally misclicked, and so I erase it and put it somewhere in the correct place.
Yeah, I don't play with the block correction. I don't play with the blue tip stuff. I have problems when it comes to Picross.
Well, I can totally do the regular Picross, although sometimes I can't be as fast as they want you to be.
Yeah. Well, thankfully, quote-unquote, normal Picross doesn't have the timer. Pokemon Picross, I went through... When I say I 100%ed it, I mean, like, got all of the stars for doing all the different, like, don't equip Pokemon challenges and all that kind of... I did everything.
I remember when I first started going through the regular Picross version of that, I would try so many times to get under a time limit, and I would just try to memorize a bunch of the squares.
Yeah. I'll be honest, there were definitely a few puzzles where, straight up, that's the only way to beat the challenge, is to finish it once and be like, okay, skip these 2 blocks, do these 5, skip these 2, do these 2, and then build it from there.
Yep. That's why whenever I'd use the Pokemon that fill in spaces, I'd try to, do a corner, so then it's easier to go off of that.
Always.
And then I just get a bunch of X's and I'm sad.
But that's what I've been playing. I mean, occasionally I'll been loading up Rogue Tower to burn through some of the, roguelike.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
You should play it. You should play that.
I bought it, like I said, I bought it as soon as you mentioned it to me. I've just been so busy lately.
Nah, I get it.
Oh, that's right. Also, this past weekend, we were on our buying spree. We went to a bookstore, and so when I was in Wisconsin, we went to the Barnes & Noble, and I found 4, 5, and 6 of the Circuit de Freak manga, which originally was no longer being sold, but now it's being republished or something again. Well, I found the first 3 at this bookstore.
Yeah, there you go.
I was like, sweet, I have the first 6, which honestly might be all of them. I have to actually check.
Maybe you should sit down and read them.
I am. I mean, I was like 3/4 way through the third one, and now I'm halfway through the first one.
Well,
it's great manga.
I think we have hit the end of the episode there, so thanks for hanging out. Let us know what you thought about the things we talked about, and we'll catch you next week.
Maybe next week we'll answer some Bomber's Notebook questions.
Maybe next week the energy drink that I drink won't cause me to have a conniption fit live.
Stop drinking it!
I'm almost done!
Your body's almost done.